My name is Marcus with MLC CAD Systems in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and I'd like to take you on a tour through the SOLIDWORKS Simulation user interface. To do this, I'm going to set up kind of a complicated study relating to this part. Now, when I build a new study, it's very easy to understand exactly what you have to go through because, as you'll see here in a second, the dialog is very simple and gives you kind of an overview of all the items that need to be addressed. Those same items are all up here on the Feature Manager design tree. So it's very easy to understand what the items are that you need and what items are available. For instance, when I'm going to apply a material, you can see I have a lot of options regarding how I want to handle this, whether I want to make it a rigid item, or maybe I just want to apply one of my favorite materials so I don't have to go into a material dialog and worry about anything. You'll see all these changes and all these items that I'm applying aren't brought up in a whole bunch of separate windows that I have to move around and keep track of. All I have to do is choose the type of item I want to use, specify the faces I'd like to apply them to, and this is a fixture that I'm applying to these bottom faces, and it gives me a nice feedback with nice little symbols that give me an understanding of what's going on and what other related items are attached. Now, loads can be kind of complicated in certain situations. Now, there might be simple loads. There are simple loads such as gravity. Simply tell it what level or what direction is down, and gravity is going to be applied. But what if you have something more complicated, such as another part that's attached to this that's customer supplied? I don't even have this part, and yet that's going to be what loads this design up. For something like that, I might create something called a remote load. For the remote load, I simply tell it where that load is going to be applied, how far away that load is. So we'll say in the vertical direction, it's about a foot off the ground, and it's about 4 inches offset from the side, and it has in the X direction a load of 75 pounds. This is what we're expecting this to be able to handle. Now, you'll see that there's a real nice feedback coming in here, and I'm getting an arrow that shows the directionality of that load, but I'm also kind of getting a preview with these nice lines. Now, it might get a little bit distracting to have that in there, but it does give me a really nice illustration of what's going to happen with the load and what's going to be applied and what we're trying to represent here. To kind of clean this up, though, I'll hide that. I can hide all study loads if I want, or just some individually to clean things up. You're always trying to educate and communicate these designs to other people, and having the ability to quickly clean everything up makes that a lot easier. I'm also going to apply a torque. We know that there's going to be a specific additional torque applied to these faces, so all I have to do is pick the faces I want to apply the torque in, and it's going to be rotating around this central axis. I don't have an axis. I mean, I might, but I don't want to have to redefine it. Anytime you have something round inside SOLIDWORKS, that will do a great job of giving you the ability to just specify that round object, and that becomes your central axis. Again, the arrows are all showing very quickly which direction it's going, so I know whether or not I need to reverse it. And we have the flexibility of per item torque or a total torque, which is what I'm trying to accomplish here. You don't have to sit there and think about, okay, well, is this positive, right-hand rule, start sticking your thumb up in the air. The software is going to give you that fantastic feedback always quickly and easily. One more force, and this time this force is coming in at a weird angle. It's actually going to be coming in from this side, but it's coming in at a different direction, so I'll be able to grab an arrow to kind of differentiate where that is applied. You'll see these dialogues are very simple. There's not a lot of complexity to them, but there's a lot of power and capabilities in order to analyze and run this. When I go to create the mesh, we have several different meshers and meshing parameters that are available. This blended curvature mesh, for instance, does a fantastic job. This part has some complex fillets and small curvature pieces in certain areas, but then in other areas it's a lot more coarse and open. The blended curvature mesher is going to do a nice job of giving me an accurate mesh without necessarily taking too much time or too many elements. So you're going to see a very efficient mesh is going to get created. If any issues are found or any issues come up, it's going to automatically give me the opportunity to review those issues and address them. In this case, it told me about some high aspect ratio elements. This is a quick run, a draft run, so I'm going to just check and see everything's set up using the default mesh. and then I'll heed that warning and that error and go ahead and create a better mesh a little bit later. If you'll take a look at the results plot study, I'm going to have a video just about analyzing results, and we talk a little bit about accuracy in that one. But you can see a fantastic visualization and very easy to work with inside of SOLIDWORKS Simulation, setting up and working with your models inside of simulation.